Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be looking at the players that I think are next up to win the big one, to finally win a major. A lot of these players have come very close but just haven't gotten there yet, and I think these are the people, my top 5, that have a very strong chance. And some honorable mentions are going to go to Mr. R, Siski, Hiro, and Ouch. I think they all have an amazing shot, just the other people in front of them are more consistently getting the opportunities because they're just placing better. I will say though, Mr. R has been placing a lot better recently. Ouch is starting to find some more consistency, which is great. Hiro always does well, he just doesn't travel as much. And then Siski is, again, he's always in that top 4. Out of all the honorable mentions, I would probably have him the highest just because he does do the well, or like the most well, the most consistently. But I think they all have a decent shot. I think they can do it if they have a good run, a good bracket. There's a couple people against them, like they all have some demons, but I think if they can maybe avoid those demons, they can 100% get that bracket win, and I'm excited because it's going to happen for at least one of them in probably 2023 would be my guess. But the first person on this list is going to be Zomba. Zomba is one of the most consistent players in Smash Ultimate. He does not miss top 8. There's a 9th at Apex. Well, you get my point. He gets 7th at Port Priority, 5th at Let's Make Moves Miami, 9th at Big House, 9th at Ludwig Invitational, which is actually, like, 9th at a major is impressive, but this one, he beat Aquila, Osimo, Sonics, and Light. 4th at Lost Tech. Like, Zomba's the type of player where he can beat basically anyone, but there is some people randomly that he just loses to, like MVD, for example. MVD's beat him the last 3 times in a row. Don't get me wrong, MVD is a phenomenal player, and he's honestly been doing, like, super well recently, but Zomba's, like, consistently getting top 8s, and MVD is not. Like, he still gets upset, but he is, again, he is a new top player. He doesn't have as much experience, even though he's been like a super top player for a year now, getting a ton of top 8s, but I just imagine that time will come. I think when he's playing hot enough, he can beat anyone. The only people that might stand in his way are Leo. I don't actually know if they have played once, and he did lose at Rising Grind. It was in Grands, but I think there's like maybe the one person that can stand in his way, but like everyone else, even if they beat him consistently, I think he has a shot against. Like, he just beat Meister recently, was a pretty decent demon for him with Lucina. He beat Light a couple times, like he was a huge demon for him. Like, I think Zomba can definitely do it. He's a couple tournaments away, and he's getting top 8s, again, very consistently, which is super important, because if you're getting the opportunity more times than not, then I'm going to value you higher. Like, if you have, like, really high highs, like, you get second half the time, but then half the other time you get, like, 33rd, it's like, okay, if you're getting second half the time, you'd probably still be on the list, but it helps a lot more when you're always in that top 8, top 9 spot. So, Zomba is going to be my number 5 spot. Now, my number 4 spot is going to go to Kurama. Kurama has been on an absolute tear recently. If you've been watching any Smash at all, he's been doing amazing. And we're going to see him at main stage this weekend, so hey, maybe this is it. I don't think Samba's at main stage, but if he is as well, same thing. But Kurama has been just on another level. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he started doing drugs, but if he did, I want them, because his, not even glow up, because like he was doing fine before. Like, Ludwig Invitational, this is obviously crazy. But he got top 8 at Riptide, he got top 8 at Crown. Like, he's been doing consistently pretty well here. Let me make this 100 just so we can see his majors better. And then offline only. So we have here like his crowd performance, upset, double down performance. He also got 13. He was 46 at double down. Okay, they just did him dirty there. But then Riptide or Central Stadium, that's a smaller tournament, but he still does decent there. Riptide, he gets 8th. Port Party, he obviously is absolutely crazy run, and then Ludwig's is somewhere in here, just doesn't have because we have it as 100. But as you can see, his last 3 majors, or last like okay, so his last like bad performance for like a top player is Genesis 8, where he got 33rd, and again 33rd at Genesis is not that bad, and then he gets a top 8 at Crown, a top 13 at Double Down, which is again 13th at Double Down is top 8 at like a lot of majors. That tournament was insane, and then he gets a 7th at Riptide, then he gets a 3rd at Ludwig's, which is like kind of cemented him into that crazy legacy that everyone knows, and then he backs up with a 2nd at Port Priority, and now we're going to see him at main stage. We're going to see him at the Panda Cup. We might see him at the LCQ for Special Tour. I don't think so, but hey, maybe he's there. Like, there is so many opportunities for him because he's going to a ton of stuff. I pray he doesn't get burnt out, but he is getting so much better so quickly. And it's not like he's made these runs, by the way, by like not getting a ton of wins. He is beating basically everyone, and it's competitive every time he loses. His like only set that wasn't like super competitive was his set versus Aquila. He kind of got bopped the last 2 games, but I believe he did manage to take a game. Yeah, he took a game. Like, he always does super well. The only person that might stand in his way is DeBuzz. DeBuzz seems to have some kind of like magic spell in him, because he cannot beat DeBuzz for the life of him. I think they've played 3 times lifetime. They played 4 times lifetime, and 2 of them or 3 of them have been fairly recent. 4 of them, because this is Big House 9. So they've all been like within this year. They've all been fairly recent, but he just cannot get that win. I imagine he does get it eventually, but just as of now, he has been struggling a little bit against the Buzz. But again, one person that you're struggling against isn't going to really stop you from winning an entire tournament, especially like if the Buzz can't make it to that grand final spot or that winner's final spot that Kurama has made it to twice now, twice in a row, then it's going to be tough for him to lose to his demon. And I think Kurama has a ton of potential. He's absolutely amazing. The bad matchups like don't apply to him, which is super interesting, and I just think he has a very, very high chance. Now, our number 3 player is going to be Mudace. Mudace can beat anyone, but he can also kind of be beaten by anyone, but not like really. Like, the only person that Mudace kind of struggles with is Onin. He struggles consistently with Onin. I feel like literally every other player in the world. Hold on, let me check his record versus Leo, because I don't actually. They've never played. Okay, so basically any other player in the world, I think Mudace could beat. Shutone, he's 1-0 against, or 0-1 against. T, that's Mysterica. I know T beat him at Lotus C, so I think he's 0-2 against T, so maybe that's like another one, but like playing against people that are 0-2, you get my point. He can beat anyone. The sets he plays are always close. The only thing that's honestly keeping him from not being higher, because like almost everyone above him does have like certain demons, is because he is the least consistent out of all the players on this top 5 list. Just because again, he does have some hand problems, which like really suck, especially when you're playing Peach at this level. Like Peach is one of the most technically demanding characters, if not the most technically demanding character in the game. Maybe beaten out by like good Steve, but like Peach has so much hard movement, and the way Mudace moves around is not normally, and to do that with hands that are like hurting incredibly bad, like it is just tough. But when he's playing well, when he's at his peak, when he's feeling good, he looks unstoppable. He's at a 3rd at Leota C, a pretty bad placement at Ludwig's getting 0-3, but he lost to like I think Shutone, Myron, and someone I forget. I guess I'll just go out of the 100. He lost to Light, Myron, and Shutone. Damn, that sucks. But Let's Make Moves Miami gets 3rd place, beating Riddles, beating Aquila, beating Yanni, beating Mysterica. Where else did he do really, really good? He did good at, I think it was Big House? Yeah, Big House, he gets 5th, beating Mars, Colorado, Axel, like losing to Onin Tweak. Like, Mudace is just really so good. We're going to see him at Panda Cup. I don't think we're seeing him at main stage, and I don't know if we're seeing him at Smash World Tour, but we're definitely seeing him at the Panda Cup, so I hope he does well here. Also, just picked up a sponsor as well, which is super sick. Hopefully, we can travel more. I know he was sponsored by Omerta, I think it was, before, but I think R2G, or I always forget his sponsor name, I'll put on the screen, is a decent amount bigger, so he'll hopefully be able to travel more, hopefully be in those more consistent top 8s, because, like, he's going to win the major eventually. It's just, like, when Mudace is playing good, he is unstoppable. Like, every single set is so close. It's happened a couple times. I also think, just as I mentioned, he's the only player on this list that hasn't been in grand finals of a major at any point, and I think the second he gets into grand finals, at least I feel like the second he gets into grand finals winner side, it's guaranteed. Maybe losers he has to fight a little harder. I mean, obviously you're from losers, but beating Mudace in 2 sets in a row seems like impossible. He is just so good. His adaptation, his playing against him is so difficult because you have to be so good at killing. Like, Mudace is just absolutely unreal. He is my number 3 player, and moving on to number 2, we have, and my second player is Meister. Meister is unreal, and even though he's had a lackluster last, like, I think he got 2nd at last, like, so lackluster last 2 tournaments, like with a 17th at Big House isn't great, losing to Mars, who is a bracket demon for him, and the aforementioned Zomba, and then Ludwig's getting 19th there, isn't the end of the world, beating Ken and Siski, losing to Riddles, Spargo, and Tweak, who are all top 10 in the world. Like, what? Like, that is unlucky, honestly. And he is sponsored now, which I think is really sick, because he was a free agent for, like, a really long time. So hopefully we can see him at more things. But here's a trend. 2nd at Lost Tech, 2nd at SmashCon, 2nd at Colossal, 3rd at King of Fields, 3rd at MomoCon. Like, he is always in that super high spot. Even though he had a rough last 2 tournaments, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, he is just so good. And we saw sparks of it before quarantine happened as well, with that 2nd place at Frostbite, an incredible run. And then, like, just something happened. Like, 2nd at SmashCon is something that cannot be understated. That is one of the biggest tournaments of all time. 5th at Smash Factor is still really good. 2nd at Lost Tech is really good, only losing to Lima and Mars like, kind of destroys Meister, so you can't feel too bad for it. Colossal, 2nd place there, is in the other world, losing to Leo twice. The only people that I feel like Meister, like, gets super brick-walled by are obviously Leo. He has a very hard time against Leo. He does struggle a lot versus Mars as well, but I will say you're not going to seeing Mars as much, like, just realistically, or, oh, let me make that offline only. You're not going to be seeing Mars as much realistically in the top 8s because he just doesn't travel as much, and usually when he does, he doesn't make it as far, because making it with Zero Suit in these tournaments is tricky. But people that he does also Dabuz. He struggles against Dabuz. But like he struggled against, I feel like he struggled against Tweak a bit. And then even though he did lose the last time, like he figured it out there. He struggled against Gluto a little, figured it out. Like Meister is a player that adapts super fast, and the player or a character like Game & Watch I feel like has the potential with tournaments. I mean, obviously we've seen Mia do it like multiple times. The character definitely can do it, and I think it is a character like that is realistic to do it with. Like winning a major with Peach, you can do. Is it realistic? I mean, yes, it's just like incredibly hard, but Game & Watch is a character where like you could just be really good with spacing. It's not as hard technically on your hands, even though he does have some pretty tough stuff, but I think that does matter. And then also, as a note, even though I've hated on it like a million times this channel, he does have a secondary. So having a secondary is important. It can't really hurt you, even though it kind of does him. But I think it is something to note. But yeah, I think Meister, he has a couple demons, and that's like the only thing keeping him down. I feel like every time he loses a tournament, like that's to a demon Leo, that's to Onin, which is like, you know, Steve meta, it's acceptable. That's to Mars. Like it feels like he's always getting brick walled by those like super top players that are like just always seem to beat him. But if he can beat one of those to win the tournament, like he's gonna be, I mean, he's gonna have won the tournament if he beats one to win the tournament. But you get what I mean. I think Meister has an incredibly high chance, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the next players to win a major. But the person that I have in first place is, of course, it's Dabuz. Of course, it's Dabuz. I feel like everyone saw this coming. This video was kind of made for him, but he has been so close so many times. I'm pretty sure he has the most second places out of any player in the world, and it feels like just whenever he gets into winners finals or like winners grands, losers grands, he just cannot close out. And I think this is because he has a couple brick walls. He has a brick wall in Leo, he has a brick wall in Light, he has a brick wall in T. But something also in Cosmos a bit, but something I want to mention is he has been figuring these out slowly, I will say, but surely. Like the Cosmos one. Very slowly. He should have won this set, by the way. But like Cosmos was bodying for a bit. The Minmin like barely didn't work here. This didn't work. Like he was figuring it out. Went back to the Minmin. He made it work. And that's what Dabuz is so good at. He makes it work. Light he's been bodying him a bit lately. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I know he'll find it. Leo, I mean, that's a tough one. Leo is like, that is one of the toughest matchups in Ultimate. It's been going since the very beginning. The only time he took it right here. What a glorious set. Unfortunately, Leo did get the run back right away. And I will say, though, it does show, like, Leo has a ton of respect for Dabuz. One of the only people he uses Joker against because, like, Dabuz, again, he does pretty well against the other two characters. Like, I think he has a chance against the other two, but also just, like, Joker Min is definitely Leo's preferred matchup there. And that is tricky. Tweak as well, they go back and forth on history, and then Tweak kind of bodied him a little more at the start, had a little streak right there. But as of now, I think, yeah, Dabuz led the last time they also played 9 months ago. So there's a couple people that Dabuz struggles against. And I think like a great analogy for Dabuz, and a lot of people will have used this and will keep using it, is he is like the gatekeeper of Smash. Like he will keep you out of the top 10. If you can beat Dabuz, you are top 10. If you cannot beat Dabuz, you are not top 10. That is just how it works. He keeps you out, and then obviously there is exceptions, but you get my point. He can't. It's hard for him to beat the people above him, but he can. We've seen him do it. We've seen him have shades of light, and he just needs to have that juicy bracket run, and he will have it eventually. Mark my words. Everyone's expecting it. Everyone knows it's going to happen. We're all holding with weighted breath. Like, his run, it's going to be incredible. It's going to happen. You have to believe me. And I think he has a pretty good chance, because I believe I'm pretty sure he's going to main stage. I think he's at both Smash World Tour and Panda Cup. I might be wrong, but I'd be shocked if he wasn't at least Smash World Tour. But yeah, I think Dabuz is deservedly the #1 player. He, again, we talked about consistency earlier. He is consistently in grand finals more than anyone. Like, almost like, I think Leo might be the only player who beats him, honestly. Like, Leo, maybe a couple others, but he is in grands all the time. Hasn't gotten it yet. He definitely will. And I also think, as a final note, that his co-maining right now is very strong. Min is obviously the best co-maining character in the game, at least in my opinion. And then his Rosalina just has incredible tech. I see a ton of potential with it. And he still has the Olimar, though I think he's pretty much fully dropped the character at that point. But yeah, his Rosalina is incredible. The Min is a very strong counter pick. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to sub, all the yada yada. If there's any top players I left out, please let me know down below. These are just my top 5 in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comments, support. This video actually came from a commenter, so I thank you guys so much, and yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.